Arizona Diamondbacks are a goddamn wagon. Welcome on in to the PHNXDbacks show right here on PHNX. My name is Gareth Montilla, of course, formerly known as your mayor of PHNX. This man next to me is Mr. Electric Shawn, and over there is Thunderstick Jesse Friedman. I'm not going to acknowledge his vice mayor status at all anymore until I get my power back. But the Diamondbacks are a very powerful team, and they win yet another series this time against the Milwaukee Brewers. Masterful outing today by Zac Gallen. The offense really struggled against the Brewers starter, Julio Teheran, but they definitely got to the bullpen and were able to turn things around late, which is something we've discussed that they haven't really been able to do well lately. So great to see the Diamondbacks, doing some damage against the bullpen, and the answer backs once again answered back. But Jesse, let's talk about Zac Gallen and how great he was today.
He was fantastic. He definitely leaned on this Diamondbacks defense a little bit. Only 4 strikeouts in the game, not as many as we're used to seeing. But the Diamondbacks defense, as they often do, very much delivered. Geraldo Perdomo made an impressive leaping grab. Corbin Carroll made a sliding play in left field, and Alek Thomas made a number of plays in this game that were just smooth and just kind of what you're used to seeing from Alek Thomas. It's nice to see him back up here playing center field. But yeah, overall, he leaned on the fastball for sure. 55% four-seamers for Gallen. He really backed off the curveball, which is a pitch he's leaned on heavily in recent weeks. But yeah, I mean, this is just sort of the Zac Gallen that we've come to expect, right? 7 innings, 1 run, pretty much just another day at the office for the Diamondbacks' best starting pitcher.
Well, I don't know if you would say the one we've come to expect, because he has not been very good on the road this season.
Fair.
And
yeah,
between Zac Gallen being on the road and us doing a watch along, there were a lot of factors against Zac Gallen today. Cogs was there in Milwaukee, kind of near him. There were a lot of bad things going against him, but Gallen's line today: 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4K. Not a lot of whiffs today, but he did get, like Jesse said, a lot. The whiffs came on those off-speed pitches, and I do understand how the four-seam sets that up, but you really feel like you would like to see him, using those other pitches more, considering their success.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it. Like, it turned out pretty well. Yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, right. It's never, I guess, in theory, never bad to have a little bit more diversity there. But I'm not gonna ask too many questions or act like there's too many problems if that pitch mix is gonna still result in this kind of outing.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, again, the Zac Gallen just. The defense behind him was just spectacular today, like Jesse said. Alek Thomas is just a guy that you kind of get used to. It's kind of like I would put Alek Thomas and Christian Walker in the same category, where they make spectacular plays, but they make them look easy.
Yeah.
Especially Christian Walker. He makes some of those stretches that he does to save bad throws from sailing into the bleachers behind him or whatever. He does it often, and he does it so often that we just kind of take it for granted over there. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Alek Thomas. Like, we've seen guys struggle. I mean, Corbin Carroll had an outstanding play today, but Alek Thomas, again, his ability to just make it look so easy out there is something that is great to see with him back. And it's also great for his bat to be back, because he feels like he is really firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah. Zac Gallen, I will say, he's really relied on the D-backs defense a lot this year. A lot of his success has been because of how good the Diamondbacks defense has been.
Great point.
If you take a visit over to Zac Gallen's Baseball Savant page, you're going to see a decent amount of red, but you're also going to see a little bit of blue. Zac Gallen came into this game with a hard hit rate of 45.6%, which is actually really high. That's kind of been... in past years, it hasn't been that high. This is the highest hard hit rate that Gallen has ever had. And, it still works because he's, his strikeout rate is also very good. So, with getting enough whiffs, you're going to be able to still have success. But a lot of the success that Gallen has had is because, opposing hitters are hitting the ball hard, but the Diamondbacks defense is picking him up and making those plays anyway. Hard hit rate, it's important to look at other factors, like, are those balls on the ground? Are they pop-ups? Hard hit rate is not necessarily a great stat in and of itself, but there has been a decent amount of hard contact against Gallen this season and in this game. But because of how good the defense has been, he hasn't really paid the price for it as you might have expected him to.
Mustachio Mike in the comments says, should the number of batters left on base be a concern, even though it was still a good win? Well, I mean, again, the Diamondbacks faced a very, very good starting pitcher today who had his best stuff. I mean, I feel like the Diamondbacks were doing their best. They were getting on base. They weren't swinging and missing a lot, but they absolutely weren't able to get those big hits when they had runners on base. I don't know if it would be concerned. I'd be more concerned if we didn't end up seeing this be, a 5-1 victory. I would be more concerned. But the Diamondbacks eventually were able to put it together late in games, especially once they got to that bullpen. But you're right. I mean, the Diamondbacks just absolutely weren't able to hit. They were 4 for 13, but I'm pretty sure all of the 4 runs in scoring position, or 4 for 13 with runners in scoring position, all came against the bullpen and not against the starting pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, seeing 13 runners left on base is never good, but no. I'm not going to complain about it too much when they won, and B, you look at who was on the mound, like and it is a certain amount of luck involved, right? Like they had to have gotten runners on base to begin with, which they did rather successfully. So obviously you'd like to see them drive in a few more, but I didn't watch this game being like there's all these. I mean, in the moment, sure, there was missed opportunities, but when it was all said and done, it didn't feel like the kind of game where like they escaped by the skin of their teeth and they left a bunch on the table. Like it still felt like a good win.
A lot of it was with 2 outs too.
Yeah.
The D-backs had the bases loaded with 2 outs a couple times in this game and weren't able to come through. That 6 left on base just in those couple of innings. But
they did do what they do well, Jesse. They ran wild on the Brewers today, stealing a franchise, tying a franchise record with 7 stolen bases. And then again, just some of those timely hits, including Alek Thomas today being really good. He almost went 4 for 4 today. You had Emmanuel Rivera, who had a 3-hit day himself. And again, these aren't Emmanuel Rivera is one of those guys that just does it quietly and does it in key moments. And he continues to be a gift to this team, especially right now in the absence of Josh Rojas.
Yeah, Rivera has continued to be impressive for this team. I know during the watch along we were talking about him not looking quite as good at the plate in recent weeks, which is true. But when you're hitting 370, you're allowed to have a couple bad weeks. And after his 3-hit day today, Rivera's batting average is right back up there at 323. I don't know if he's going to maintain that number either, but still, he's just hitting tons of line drives. Like Emmanuel Rivera this season just has this really weird knack for just hitting line drives to all of the right places. And when you're hitting a lot of line drives, good things tend to happen. There's no better batted ball in the game than a line drive. And for whatever reason, Rivera just seems to have mastered that this season.
Yeah, we joke about him a lot being like I always call him a professional baseball player when he gets those singles and stuff. But that's part of the joke is that like he does really just seem to have a very professional approch to his at bats. Like he does.
He's not flashy. He's not trying to do it for the glory. He's just trying to go out there and win baseball games. That's what he's trying to do.
The approach clearly is it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's working. Like he's getting the results from it. So. By all means, keep going up there.
And Gabriel says the home run by Tapia doesn't count in my book. Me neither. Me neither. We're throwing that one out. Can we get that one removed from the record books?
That is such a freaky. How does like the most random dude ever that just owns the Arizona Diamondbacks and Zac Gallen?
I'm sorry. I got to do this, guys. I know this is weird to do in the middle of the show, but I got to go shut out the lights really fast. I'm just going to...
Oh boy!
Take care of these. We're gonna blindfold now.
Derek is gonna ruin our show lighting right now.
Real fast because we're gonna talk about Scott McGough. And that's what we need to do when we talk about Scott McGough. Yes. Look, when Scott McGough comes in the game, we turn the lights out, and that's what's happening with Scott McGough lately. He's absolutely shutting the lights out. Go ahead, discuss.
Since May 14th, Scott McGough 20 in a third inning, 7 hits, 2 runs, 0 earned runs, 7 walks, 29 strikeouts, a 0 ERA, obviously no earned runs in that stretch, and he has a 0.69 WHIP. So there have been almost no base runners against him. The lights are now back on, so I guess that ends the conversation.
Yeah, no more Scott McGough.
No more Scott McGough talk. But
unless we're going to talk about him being a closer, we could talk about that with the lights back on because this man has been incredible. And today he was just he absolutely shut down the Brewers. And we've talked about this. We've said, God, please, could we have a reliever that comes in and just doesn't have any kind of excitement? Like, can we just maintain our lead? Can we just have a 4-run lead and end the game with a 4-run lead and not have like more than maybe a handful, base runners or anything? And Scott McGough did it in 2 innings, and it's really impressive. What he's been doing has been impressive. He does it quietly. I still think he has the stigma of those couple of bad games without considering his entire body of work this season. He's just been awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's nice because you can't trust everyone in the bullpen, but I think you know who you can trust, right? Like the starting pitching there for a little bit was rather inconsistent, where you didn't know who you're going to get from anybody. But I feel like at this point, like, okay, if Scott McGough's coming in, you're probably going to get a pretty good outing. I'm not going to name names, but there's certainly other guys in that bullpen who, when they come out, you're like, this might
Kyle Nelson.
Yeah. Like this might get hairy. And you don't feel like that with a guy like Scott McGough, and that is just a really nice feeling to have. That you have at least a couple of guys like that in the pen.
And Connor said that splitter was splitting today.
It was. I mean, he threw 22 pitches and he got 7 whiffs, and he threw and 68% of his pitches were in the strike zone. This was not like a fluke, like 2 nice innings with 1 strikeout or something. Scott McGough fooled around with an immaculate inning.
Yeah, I was gonna say
in the 8th inning, he had 2 3-pitch strikeouts to start that.
How do you not, as Mike Hazens, just light up a cigar and vanity search Scott McGough's name at that point and look up old tweets? Yeah, and just maybe log into the burner and just give him a few little pokes at some of the comments that were made, including us. But
how do you not, as Mike Hazen, sign this guy to an extension yesterday?
That's a bigger question. Scott McGough definitely has a feel for the ball now, though, ladies and gentlemen.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like when you're a GM, like drafting Corbin, okay, but like anybody could draft good baseball players at the top of a draft. But when you find guys like Scott McGough, that's got to be a nice feeling.
Pitched in the league in 5 years. You gotta give him credit for digging deep.
His contract is 2 years, $6.25 million with a 2025 mutual option, which as of right now, I would not necessarily count on Scott McGough holding up his side of that mutual option. But the D-backs do have Scott McGough again next season at a completely ridiculous
lifetime
price.
contract, Jesse.
Lifetime. Retire his number. You have a stake in the team like Messi.
Yeah, absolutely. Make him an all-star at least. Make him an all-star.
Hey.
But speaking of all-stars, there's a couple of other guys that should be all-stars. Ketel Marte had a big series for this team. Went 4 for 12 with a home run, 2 walks. He's now hitting damn near 300, 291, 370, 494. And his 864 OPS is second highest in baseball among qualified second basemen, trailing only, of course, Luis Ariz, who has the
he might hit 500
numbers. He might hit 500, but he absolutely should be an all-star, and he should be voted in. That voting closes today for phase 1, and then they move on to phase 2. So hopefully you guys have gone and voted for all of your Arizona Diamondbacks. I know I kind of contradict myself when I said you shouldn't probably vote for all the guys on your team, but at this point, I mean, maybe not DH, maybe not third baseman, because Josh Rojas is right now technically their third baseman on the voting, but definitely should be voting for Ketel Marte as well as Geraldo Perdomo.
You've got until noon Eastern time tomorrow, actually, for phase 1. So it does bleed in. I guess local time, it'd be 9 a.m. tomorrow. You can vote. So you absolutely should be voting for Ketel Marte. He was 6th at second base in the update that they released yesterday, which is not nearly high enough. There are some knocks on him defensively, but frankly, for all-star voting, that tends not to matter.
Which is why Christian Walker's not top 10.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, but honestly, Christian Walker, even his offensive numbers at this point are pretty. I mean, he should clearly be in the top 10 and in the top 5, and maybe should even be in the mix to be in the top 3 at this point. The other guy is Geraldo Perdomo, who also arguably deserves serious all-star consideration, as we've talked about already. He's hitting 291, 396, 458. And that's the second highest OPS among shortstops in the National League, trailing only Orlando Arcia. And people might talk about Perdomo's platoon role, which is fair, but he has basically the same number of plate appearances as Orlando Arcia, who is the clear-cut frontrunner in voting at second base right now, or shortstop right now. So, you could make a case that the Diamondbacks comfortably should maybe have 5 all-stars, right? I guess the 6 that I wrote about a few weeks ago, minus potentially Lourdes Gurriel, who's cooled off in recent weeks, but Geraldo Perdomo, Ketel Marte, Zac Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Corbin Carroll, all of those guys have a really strong case. And who knows? Maybe Scott McGough, maybe you should throw his name in the hat too.
Throw him in there. Why not?
How he's pitched recently.
Why not? I feel like this started as a joke and now it's just become reality, which I'm fine with.
I still don't know if he really has a viable all-star case.
But he does know that he's a local Sexton. Well, Jesse can confirm that he is at least the sexiest.
Yes, of course.
I will buy a Scott McGough all-star jersey if that is something that happens.
In mint green.
I will.
I feel like having relievers, and no disrespect to relief pitchers or Joe Mantiply, but I feel like having relievers as all-stars is for losers. Like, that's what you do when you don't have anyone to be an all-star and they just throw somebody in there.
That's definitely what it felt like last year.
Like, as much as Scott McGough deserves it, I'm fine with those spots being reserved for the Royals, and not the Royals in this situation, but whoever's bad in the NL.
We want to go full Royals ourselves.
The Rockies can have relief pitchers. We want our starting position players, and our two aces.
Well, we are here to celebrate, of course, a very momentous occasion, and that occasion being the return of our young king. Alek Thomas is absolutely our king snake in this series. Going 6 for 13 with 2 extra base hits, 3 RBI. He had the home run, and he's just been incredible since coming back. I think more than anything, though, I still can't emphasize enough how great he has been defensively for this team, because he does little things, little fly balls that make me kind of get worried. Yet I didn't worry when he was out there before. It's kind of like a shifting in emotions where, like, Alek Thomas made me so comfortable that I started feeling like guys like Corbin Carroll and Jake McCarthy were making very bad plays out there. They just weren't able to make the kind of plays that Alek Thomas can make and make them look as easy as he does.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I always compare Alek to Jackie Bradley Jr. because his defense is just so good that anything, if you can get his bat going, it's just like a bonus at that point.
Yeah.
And at this point, I mean, obviously it's only been a couple of games, but everything's going for Alek. And that is a best case scenario for this team. If you can have Alek Thomas be Alek Thomas in center field and be what Alek Thomas is supposed to be at the plate, then you are in a very, very good position if you're the Arizona Diamondbacks. And again, small sample size so far since he's come back from Reno, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, what holes does this lineup really have? If Alek Thomas is going, if Jake McCarthy is McCarthy, it's not like he's hitting 450 or anything since coming back, but he's been much improved since coming back up from Reno. If you get those two guys going, this lineup becomes pretty terrifying. I mean, it's not like you've got 4 guys with 950 OPSs or anything, but at that point, there are just no holes, right? Gabby Moreno, one of the better hitting catchers in the league. When the D-backs have Gurriel in there at DH, and then the 3 speedsters in the outfield, Perdomo at shortstop, Rivera at third, Cattell, Christian Walker. It's just really complete. It might be the most complete lineup in baseball when those two guys are going, and so far so good for both Jake McCarthy and Alek Thomas.
Well, you're going to need sunglasses when watching this team because their future is so damn bright. And make sure
said, Derek. Well
to
said.
grab yourself some sunglasses from our friends at Shady Rays, who makes gear that is built to last, and especially here in Arizona. The sun breaks things down fast. You know that. Look at any of these water parks. I'm talking to you, Six Flags. You need to take care of that hunk of junk you got up there in the North Valley. But anyway, one thing you will need if you're at a water park or anywhere outside this summer in Arizona is independent sunglasses company's world-class product by Shady Rays. They are just as good as expensive sunglasses with durable frames and great lenses that are polarized, clear optics that are ready for any outdoor adventure. And they also offer the most insane protection plan in all of eyewear. We know we lose our sunglasses. It's a constant fear. So losing sunglasses, I mean, even a cell phone, you're going to keep on you more than you're going to, keep your sunglasses. And we all know that sunglasses are not easy to keep track of. So make sure if you lose or break your pair of Shady Rays, even on day one, you can send them back or you can request a new pair. No questions asked. They have your back long after you purchase. You can actually shop their entire collection at their location at Kierland Commons. It's a full-stop shop for all things Shady Rays. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. And of course, we know shopping online doesn't always work out. So of course, if you don't like those, you can make sure to return them. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. And I will say that I have a hard time wearing my other sunglasses that I have because they're not Shady Rays. The lenses, they're not polarized. They don't give me enough protection. And I really find myself constantly going to my Shady Rays every single day that I have them. Elizabeth says her sunglasses broke while she was wearing them on Monday. I'm so sorry to hear that, Elizabeth. Get yourself a pair of Shady Rays. Get 2 pairs of Shady Rays. And then if they ever break or you ever lose them, they got your back. So make sure to do that today. Also, check out Pins and Aces, which is the official golf apparel partner of PHNX and ALLCITY. They made an incredible Phoenix polo for our last golf event. We want to thank them for that. And we want to thank Big Drive Energy for being a part of that. That's a golf podcast here on the network. You can get that wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, check out the amazing polos, hats, golf bags, and more that they have over at Pins and Aces. We absolutely love our Pins and Aces gear. It's the best. It's the best gear for golfing. And not only is it super stretchy, it's incredibly comfortable. And it comes in some pretty wonderful patterns as well. So check out pinsandaces.com and use our code of PHNX to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. There is absolute screaming going on outside of this room right now. And I am worried for the well-being of somebody out there. This is Sun Devils guys. See? You came over to a more civil podcast.
I was the stable. I was stability on that show.
You were the voice of reason around there. Makes sense.
I was a calm one. Now
You're the adult in the room.
But those of you that are here, welcome into the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when we go live. Leave us a little thumbs up. We always love that. If you're listening on the audio podcasting side, please subscribe to us there. Leave us a review. We always appreciate that feedback. More importantly, join us as a member of the PHNX family with a PHNX Diehards membership. Pays for itself right away. You get a free piece of merchandise from the PHNX locker and 20% off all future purchases. You also get a ranch card from Dobson Ranch Golf Course and a $50 gift certificate from Mountain Mike's Pizza. So those 3 things pay for your membership, but then you get all sorts of exclusive benefits, including more discounts with our partners, exclusive invites to events, exclusive members-only merchandise. You get access to our members-only Discord lounge, as well as all of our newsletters, including Jesse's Full Count newsletter and more. So sign up today to become a member over at gophnx.com. Let's take a look at this this series with the Brewers. The numbers in this series a little ugly, but in favor of the Arizona Diamondbacks. That starting pitching ERA, not too shabby, fellas. They out-hit the Brewers 30-16. The Diamondbacks once again play error-free baseball in this series versus the 3 errors the Brewers commit. They outscore the Brewers by 10 runs overall. So big thing there down at the bottom, I think, and that was reinforced today with the number of stolen bases they had. But 8-0 when it came to moving guys over on the base path, and the Diamondbacks created chaos, especially today.
They really did. Yeah, I mean, I think you can kind of think back to yesterday and how that game ended, and if Ketel Marte is able to make a couple of plays and not not have 2 mental lapses on back-to-back plays, we're probably looking at a series sweep here at the end of the day. But yeah,
and a slightly different relief pitcher ERA.
Yes,
lower.
Yeah, Austin Adams was charged with some runs yesterday that he probably should not have been. But yeah, I mean, when you have Merrill Kelly and Zac Gallen both pitching in a 3-game series, you feel really good about your chances to win that series. And sure enough, the D-backs won the 2 games with Gallen and Kelly on the mound. Lost the other game, even though Ryan Nelson held his own yesterday, gave the Diamondbacks a chance to win a game that they should have won. But overall, you take 2 out of 3 on the road. That's a win. Any day of the week.
Yeah, these numbers are funny to me because parts of them are like really misleading. Like the 8 stolen bases, if 7 of them didn't come today.
Right.
Then no errors, as if it wasn't 2 defensive miscues by Ketel that probably cost them one of the games.
Yeah.
Right. That's why errors are a terrible stat.
Yeah, like I still don't understand how those weren't errors, to be honest. Like, I mean, you had I understand that the guys, it's a difficult ball to field. But it just goes to show that errors are such a subjective thing based on the scorer deciding if they feel like it was an error or not.
100%. But I mean, at the end of the day, the starting pitching ERA is the big thing for me. Like Jesse said, when you have your 2 guys going in the series, you're obviously hoping you're going to have a good number there. But the fact that there's such a margin there is why the D-backs won the series.
So the D-backs do take care of business in this one. And, of course, after a tough series finale loss against the Guardians, both of these series, again, we're still going through it with this Diamondbacks team, where there are so many series that you feel like that should have been a sweep.
Mm-hmm. This is another one.
This is another one that felt like it should have been a sweep. And I mean, I know that sounds so crazy to say, especially about a team that we once again didn't really weren't convinced at the beginning of the year would even be over 500 at the end of the season. Now we want them sweeping every single opponent, it feels like at times. Now, we just are worried, I think, about the looming kaiju in the distance, the Godzilla that's coming this way. When I say that, I mean the rest of their schedule after the month of June. And it starts this weekend. The Diamondbacks have an impossibly difficult next 24 hours, to be honest, or 48 hours, I should say. They fly from Milwaukee to Washington to make up that game with the Nationals, and then they have to fly all the way across the country to San Francisco to take on an absolutely red-hot Giants team that are on their heels in the National League West. So this time is now. Like, this is where things start to get very difficult. After that, they have a series with the Rays, and then July and August just get even more difficult with the level of opponents and the schedule, the difficulty of their schedule. So when we look back on some of these series that they didn't sweep, these could be critical losses for them, especially if you talk about them potentially winning the division, which is something they have not done in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, but on its face, it's a concern, sure. But for me, it's like the reality is that they don't have any starting pitchers. Like they only have 2 starting pitchers. Like that is what we have been talking about this team, is that they really only have 2 starting pitchers. And if you only have 2 starting pitchers you can trust, it's going to be hard to win 3 games in a row. Like that's just the reality of it. So, and since this is a team that on paper we or at least we all expect that they're going to try and get at least one other starter, I'm not that concerned about it, because as it sits right now, like if they make that fix, then I think you see more sweeps, because then you get 3 starters that you can trust.
People can't hear Derek.
Apparently, I'm having issues with my mic. Is that still a thing? Let me know if it is or not. So
me and Shawn have actually just been cutting your mic this entire time.
That makes a lot of sense. I would think you would cut me off more, though. So I have no idea. So let me know, though. Are we okay over there?
We're sounding pretty good right now.
Okay.
I was noticing it earlier, and
is it something in the cord? Like there's a
I
short
think that there was a possibility that the cord was tied up a little bit,
Okay.
but I think now that you fixed that, it should be good.
Well, we'll see what happens.
So what happens when you get up and turn out the lights, Derek?
Look,
Scott McGough makes things happen.
Scott McGough can cause problems sometimes. Usually it's for the opposition, but sometimes it's for me. But yeah, I mean, of course, this team definitely has some tough tests ahead. Who knows if the Giants keep playing the way they are.
Shout out Thunderbird in the chat saying he's a Giants fan. But he's been giving us our props, saying that the D-backs are going to win the division.
Thunderbird really believes in the Diamondbacks for a Giants fan.
He said Giants are okay.
D-backs winning division, just get another ace. He's talking about getting Lucas Giolito at the trade deadline.
Hey, I like that kind of energy.
I'm okay with it. I just don't trust it, though.
I have a problem with the Dodgers or the Giants. As far as division opponents go, like the Giants are rather unproblematic to me. I liked them back in the day.
Like as in you don't hate them?
Yeah,
or you're not afraid of them?
I'm more afraid of them than I hate them. Like I don't hate them at all. I have no problem with them. They're honestly, like them and the Padres are probably the 2 teams in the division I have the most tolerance for. Obviously, I hate the Dodgers, and the Rockies just annoy me. But hey,
I hate everything you're saying. I hate the Giants. I hate all division opponents. I hate you all. That's what I feel.
Don't like any of you.
I'm
just saying by comparison to the Dodgers, who I obviously hate, and the Rockies, who I hate more because I think they're a complete joke, and the Boston Red Sox swept them in the World Series. So I just don't have any respect for them, and they don't know how to run a franchise. They do really weird shit up there.
Shawn hasn't had respect for the Rockies in 15 years.
Never. As long as I've liked baseball, I haven't respected
looking down on the Rockies since 2007.
Oh, we get that, Thunderbird. We hate the Dodgers and the Padres, too. Shawn says, my best friend is a Giants fan, but he loves Corbin Carroll. We are just America's team. Everybody loves Corbin Carroll. Everybody loves Corbin Carroll.
He's this year's, I was going to say E-Rod, J-Rod. He's just young and fun and hard to not like.
Yep.
Yeah, very true.
I agree. Well said. Well, make sure you follow this team on the road if you can, because road trips are a lot of fun with the Arizona Diamondbacks, but they're more fun when you stock up at Circle K. Of course, you can check out your local Circle K for the best coffee, beer, and snack selection and premium gas. Stock up. Make sure when you're on your road trip, you have plenty of snacks, and make sure to grab a Polar Pop. Listen to little tiny Derek. He'll steer you right. You saw me
2 days ago.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Or yesterday.
Every single time. Iced coffee for just $1.89. Red Bulls 3 for $8. Monsters 3 for $6. Make sure you're not missing out on all this great stuff. Right now, text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy one get one free offer for 32-ounce Polar Pops. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. And of course, when you're there, check out our friends at Four Peaks. Circle K stocks plenty of Four Peaks beer. Get your Four Peaks wherever you get your beer at. This is the official craft beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. You can get it at Chase Field all over the place, but most importantly, at their Four Peaks draft room, where we will be having our takeover meetups before the games. Check out the events page in our show notes to find dates and tickets to join us for baseball. We have one every single month coming up until the end of the season, so join us for that. And if you can't, still check out that Four Peaks draft room on the suite level down the first base line in Chase Field. Also, do something nice for teachers. Kids are back home for the summer, but not for long. They're going back to school very soon. So make sure to thank a teacher. You can help them potentially win 11 $1,000 cash grants, and one lucky teacher will win a teacher's lounge renovation. Nominations due June 30th. He's not that tall.
I'm 6'2".
He's not that tall. He's absolutely. Are you counting to the top of your hair?
No, I'm 6'2". I'm a full 6'2".
I don't know.
Jesse has just leaned over a little bit more, and I was sitting straight up.
Yeah,
but Jesse is.
I think
also
you're a little bit closer
here
to the table.
Yeah.
But,
also, it's a little.
Oh, Jesse doesn't like when people out tall him. That's something he won't accept. But
I think I'm taller than Shawn.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that close, actually.
Yeah,
I honestly have not ever really looked, but there's so many tall people in this office that I've given up being like being tall at this point. At best, I'm like the fourth tallest person in the office.
To thank a teacher, go to fourpeaksforteachers.org and complete the form to enter for the chance to win. Nominations are due June 30th. Because we were talking about teachers and not how tall Shawn is. Teachers Tuesdays are back also at 8th Street Pub. Every Tuesday through July, teachers can bring a valid teacher ID and receive $4 pints of Kilt Lifter, Wow, Hazy, and Hop Knot. Thank you for being a teacher. And of course, fourpeaksforteachers.org to nominate. Check out at Four Peaks Brewer, Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. We got a few minor league updates before we get on to the probables, and of course, the most important thing, our All-City division update. But Dominic Canzone just continues to be a beast in AAA, and as the Arizona Diamondbacks, I can't imagine that it's going to be too long before we see this guy get called up, because he has just been incredible.
He's absolutely raking, and clearly is ready to be a major league player. Something interesting that Mike Hazen said in that article by Nick Pecoro that we talked about a little bit yesterday. He talked about how teams might do more like major league for major league type trades, just given the nature of the market and how few sellers there are. Dominic Canzone is the kind of player that another team probably could take from the D-backs minor league system and plug in onto their major league team. Obviously, he hasn't played in the big league, so if you're a contender and you're looking for an everyday outfielder, you're probably not going to take that gamble. But he's good enough where he's having enough. He's having enough success there that I think there are some teams that, maybe they're not quite World Series contenders, but they're kind of in the mix. Dominic Canzone is a major league ready player at this point. There aren't that many guys, even in the PCL, who walk more than they strike out and are also slugging 665 and have 58 RBI at this point in the season. So he's pretty much ready to go. Of course, the Diamondbacks, continue to have Pavin Smith, who did reach base 4 times in this game. We didn't talk about him earlier. He had 4 walks in this game. But yeah, one way or another, you feel like Dominic Canzone's going to find his way to the majors before too long.
Yeah, really, it's just a question of who is it for.
I think it's either Pavin Smith, or if you're not going to make that move, then there's not really any other clear options. So it's pretty much the Diamondbacks as of right now are choosing Pavin Smith over Canzone, but I guess that could change at some point.
Jordan Lawler homered yesterday. That's good to see. He's hitting 248, 344, 476 for the year, and he has 17 stolen bases. So feels like he's definitely back on track. And I know when we talked to the Carey twins, they were both very high on not only his offense as of late, but that he's really come around defensively.
Yeah, he really has. He really went on a tear there for a span of about 3 or 4 weeks. He's kind of settled back in. He hasn't had any 4-hit games or anything like that super recently, but continues to just be a steady presence in the lineup in Amarillo. And you kind of feel like over time, those numbers are going to continue to tick up. And Corbin Carroll got promoted to AAA in early mid-July of last year. Wouldn't be totally shocked if Jordan Lawler found his way to AAA not all that long after that. So could be right around the corner.
Yeah, the biggest hope is that I think it's nice that specifically Geraldo Perdomo is playing as well as he is, and everyone on that side of the field is playing as good as they are. So it doesn't, like with the presence of Nick Ahmed, you don't feel necessarily like you have to rush anybody.
Right.
Not that you're rushing him to replace anybody this year, but in general, it's you can take your time with him, which I feel like is a pretty good situation to be in.
Landon Sims is back too, which is great to see for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I know that he is actually kind of a little bit farther along than other guys that were obviously drafted around him. So him being back is, I mean, I'm still not sure that's not a name we're going to see anytime soon on the Major League roster, but still just with all the accolades he's had, all the high praise, it's great to see him pitching again.
Yeah, Mississippi State had tons of success there at the end of his college career. Needed Tommy John surgery. The Diamondbacks drafted him 34th overall last year. He had already had the Tommy John surgery, so he was kind of always slated to make his return around now. And at this point, he's only played in the rookie league. He's made 4 appearances there so far, just 4 1/3 innings, but he hasn't allowed an earned run. 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, so a good start for him. And he is a guy who I think could rise fairly quickly through the Diamondback system. Drew some Craig Kimbrell comparisons in his time at Mississippi State, although some people think he has a chance to start. And as of right now, it looks like the Diamondbacks will try to use him as a starter, even if some people think he'll ultimately wind up as a reliever. He could be a really good reliever, though. Like Landon Sims could be a back-end reliever not that far from now.
Well, and I mean, the Diamondbacks, they've talked about the trade market and they've talked about building from within. And again, that's not something that's going to happen this season, but it does feel like they need to start kind of they can't have all these young guys that are all starting pitchers all coming up together. So Landon Sims has proved his effectiveness as a back end reliever, and you know that's something that the Diamondbacks are probably going to be in need of by the time that he's ready to come up to a major league level. You know, I don't know. Not everybody can be a starter, and you know we're seeing that with the Diamondbacks, but they don't even have enough starters, so I don't know how to even handle that. But speaking of starters, let's take a look at the starters for this upcoming, I guess, one game. Yeah. We got this 1-game series.
They're going for the sweep in Washington, D.C., right?
Go for the sweep. Let's go. Irvin versus Tommy Henry. And I like Henry's chances with this. I don't like the Diamondbacks' chances for sleep. Yeah. I have a question. Are you just if anybody is not playing in this game, are you just sending them to San Francisco now and not even making them fly out to Washington?
Honestly,
you know, like if any of these were like Scott McGough is not going to pitch in this game, right? So might as well send his ass to San Francisco and get a good night's sleep. Not everybody needs to be jet lagged.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, this is a game you should feel good about, but realistically, I don't feel good about it at all. It's Tommy Henry at 10 local after flying from Milwaukee, like that just that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Hey, they've already won the series, so hey, if they can win tomorrow, it'd be great. But I'm not holding my breath on that one.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta sacrifice a game. Like this is one of those games that I'm not. I mean, you have to actually look ahead at the more important series with the Giants and not let this one game with the Nationals do anything to, you know, screw with your bullpen or the availability of your key guys or anything like that with this upcoming series. So it's really important. And I think Michael said it earlier in the chat, but after tomorrow's game against the Nationals, 39 out of 43 opponents all have a plus 500 record. So it's going to be a difficult stretch for them.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, you get the Giants over the weekend, and then you get the Rays at home after that. And then you've got the Angels, who are also playing pretty good baseball right now.
Yeah, but honestly, I think this is the perfect time for it because if you can go through those series and you're going to have a really good idea of how you stack up against the best teams in this league. And at that, not that I don't think anything's going to happen that's going to change them from being aggressive to being sellers, obviously. And I don't think anything's it's going to change necessarily the trade deadline all that much, but in general, it's good. I feel like it's good to know exactly kind of where you're stacking up against. At this point, if you're trying to win a World Series, you're trying to beat the Tampa Bay Rays. So you need to know how you. And at this point,
Shawn's just calling it right now. Tampa Bay Rays, they might as well just not play a game the rest of the year until late October.
Yeah. But and also if you're trying to win the division at this point, it seems like you got to beat the San Francisco Giants. These are the teams you need to beat if you want to accomplish your ultimate goal of winning a World Series.
Yeah.
And so it's I feel like it's a pretty damn good time to have those games. So So you, like I said, you can get a real idea of where you stack up.
Yeah, and to your earlier point, like if you go in and you take 2 out of 3 in San Francisco and you find a way to win a series against the Tampa Bay Rays, maybe it doesn't change your trade deadline plans all that much, but it might add a little bit of urgency. Like if you're beating those teams, then you feel like you're open. For real. Like you probably should make sure that you get a starting pitcher, and you don't just kind of. Obviously the market's going to be difficult, but there are going to be some teams who maybe pay a little bit more than they want to for a few starting pitchers at the deadline. The Diamondbacks probably should be one of those teams.
Yeah. Well, and here's the big thing is that they have come close, right, on some of the they've come close on some of these series against big opponents, but they've come up short, right? They lost the series against the Phillies. They lost the series to the Braves, and you can take all your moral victories away from those series, but the Diamondbacks lost both of those recently. Depending on how they do against these other teams really does, give them an honest opinion, an honest look at how they stack up against actual tough competition. And some of these teams aren't the teams that have been playing well all season, but like Jesse said, they're not only catching the Giants team while they're hot, but that Angels team that comes up after the Rays is also playing.
They're all playoff teams,
yeah,
as it stands right now, I believe, right? So
they are. Angels they're all above 500.
Did they get knocked out?
The Angels are right on the edge. I don't know where they stand.
A couple of days ago, I was looking at it. They were in the playoff spot, but regardless, these are all teams that are pushing to make the playoffs at the very least.
None of those divisions matter, though. The only division that matters, of course, is the All-City division, which we still have a fairly commanding lead in the division. Those Cubs, though. I went out and visited them, but now they're just, now they're on fire. They got too close to my purple hair. They're 8.5 back. White Sox 13 games back, and the Rockies, boy, let's get the tarp out and let's just wrap this season up for the
Colorado Rockies. Have not won a game since I did this graphic like 10 days ago.
I think
that's
the
not
Cubs,
possible. Is that possible?
The Rockies have lost 8 straight. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, that does sound right.
Wow.
The Cubs, by the way, the Cubs are 36-38.
Oh.
So they're actually we're overestimating the Cubs a little bit.
The winning
Damon
percentage
is just
right.
assuming that they're going to go on a 5-game winning streak.
The win percentage is correct.
So yes,
the win percentage is correct. Yes.
Is the game's back correct?
No,
it's not.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is.
Okay,
no, you're right. It is.
Don't
it absolutely is.
Yeah, because he made one mistake.
Sorry.
Sean's never made a mistake on a graphic before.
I've
never
made a mistake in my entire life, as I make one in that sentence as I'm talking. I will say this: the Diamondbacks, guys, on June 21st are 7 victories away from their season total for 2021. That is 7 wins away from their season total for 2021.
The season is so damn fun and so weird.
It is.
Diamondbacks thing aside, it's June 21st and there is a 3-way tie. Well, the Baltimore Orioles have the best wild card spot, and then there's a 3-way tie for the other two between the New York Yankees, the Houston Astros, and the Los Angeles Angels.
Because the Rangers have first place in their division, Tampa Bay has first place in theirs, and the Minnesota Twins have first place in there. That's exactly how you drew it up. Exactly how you expected it to be, right?
But it's so damn weird and so much fun, and it's why the trade deadline is going to be weird, and it's why no one knows what anything means or who's good and who's bad. And
there's still a lot of baseball left to play.
It's a great season, and it's just so awesome. They rolled from the momentum of the WBC into having one of the most fun baseball seasons I can remember in a while.
That's a great point.
Baseball is so here. It's so back.
The Twins, the NL or the AL Central leading Minnesota Twins would be 14.5 games out of first place in the AL East.
The Red Sox are a game and a half out of a wild card spot.
And they are hilarious.
39-35.
All right.
Things are pretty weird. I guess we could play the same game with the Reds. Although the Reds, they won 11. They've won 11 in a row now.
11
they just
in a
won
row.
again. So they're 40-35. If you put them in the NL East, then they're 8 games out of first place.
Division champions, the Atlanta Braves, Arizona Diamondbacks, and Cincinnati Reds in the year 2023. Who saw that one coming?
The Braves, I think people probably
the Braves,
saw
I know, but I'm more the
West,
company.
The West and the Central are, it's pretty crazy.
Nicholas in the chat says, bought tickets to the San Francisco series this weekend back in February. Thought it would be just a nice, relaxing series, semi-competitive back then. Maybe between like 3rd and 4th place. Yeah, now it's going to be stressful as hell.
Nicholas thought he was taking a leisurely vacation.
It's going to be a great series for you. You're going to have a lot of fun. And if you're not going out to that series and you want to have some fun here in Arizona, we have a few ways for you to do that. Make sure to check out Octane Raceway and Mavericks. They still have some great stuff for your kids to do this summer in case you need something to get them out of the house. They have their summer engineering camp through July 31st. Partnered with Engineering for Kids for ages 7 through 15. They also have free bowling all summer. May 30th through August 4th, a free kids bowl free program. Children 15 and under are eligible for 2 free games each day. So you can book some fun this spring at Octane Raceway and Mavericks. It's not spring anymore. Again, I've covered this on my Twitter account. There's only summer and fall in this valley of the sun. But
it snowed the first winter I was here.
Did you bring that with you?
It snowed the first winter I was here. I realized it wasn't anywhere close to the last when I said that. I don't know. I was so pissed. I was more pissed than anybody in this state. I'll tell you that for damn sure. I bet you were. I moved all the way down here for that
to get away from
it. It snowed the first winter I was here, but absolute bullshit.
I would kill for snow right now.
Yeah, so
it's supposed to be like 112.
It's going to be raining in Nashville next week, maybe when we're there, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
That's fun. I experienced some interesting weather in a couple of different climates when I was up north in the Midwest.
The Midwest is a different animal.
Just good to get away because the minute I got back here, I immediately hated this heat so much. I was still on the plane and I was screaming about 104
outside right now. According to my Apple Watch.
Awful. Again, book some fun this summer at Octane Raceway and Mavericks. Kart racing, virtual reality, laser tag, axe throwing, bowling, arcade, great food and drinks, tons of different events throughout the summer. Check out octaneraceway.com and mavericks.com to learn more. If you want to be like Nicholas and get yourself some tickets to a sporting event, make sure to buy them through Game Time. They are the best place to procure last-minute tickets. Procrastinators can procure and be happy. Get those over at Game Time. It's the place for last-minute ticket deals. It's the fastest-growing ticket app in the country for a reason, and that's because you can find some great last-minute ticket deals and again, snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Well, that's all we got for you today. Arizona Diamondbacks win. They continue to lead the National League West. And like I said, they are somehow 7 wins away from all the games they won in 2021. And that still blows my mind because I watched that entire season. So, but we thank you guys for being Diamondbacks fans and possibly watching that season along with us. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_Kman with a K. This guy next to me is at Shawn_DePaz. That guy over there, he's at Jesse N. Friedman. The maniac behind the Mac, he is Shawn. Not Shawn. You're not Shawn. I ruined that. Wow. I just ruined that. It's too many names in here for me to cover. It's Damon. It's Damon Dog, and that's DAWG.
Shawn is also a maniac behind the Mac.
He is also, that's true. He's also qualifies as that. But make sure to follow Damon at Damon DAWG. You got to do a little at the end. Our show's at PHNX_Dbacks, but of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys for being here. We look forward to being back here tomorrow. We're doing another post game after that Washington Nationals one game. And then we'll also have another post game on Friday. So make sure to be here for all of that. In the meantime, we thank you guys for everything. We thank you for being here. On behalf of everybody here, we appreciate you stopping by. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you vote all of the Arizona Diamondbacks into the All-Star game.